Blockchain-based Web3 isn't just an internet upgrade. It is a revolution, returning power back to the people, one block at a time. Some of you may remember the first generation of the web, which is all about reading. You know, the static pages, one-way communication. Web 2, the current web for most of us, is about reading and writing. Think about social media. Web 1 and Web 2 are all about transferring information. Now, the upcoming Web 3, built on blockchain technologies, is a true game changer because it transforms the internet from a network of information to a network of value. And the one most exciting thing about it is that we can now own digital assets. And we can own them in a way that no one can take them away from you without your consent. We also don't need any third parties to verify that we own them. And we can transfer them anywhere around the world to anyone connected to the internet. And this radically changes the way how we think about trust in digital economy. After over 2 decades in academia and digital innovation, but also as a father of young children concerned about their safety on the internet, I find digital ownership of assets as one of the most fascinating and empowering features of the new internet, especially for the young generations. I have tested that on multiple projects. One of the most exciting has been an experimental social impact research project with the First Nations artist Tyrone Waigana and community leader Les de la Force. Together, we created Western Australia's first Indigenous digital art collection called CryptoMob, which allows genuine ownership of digital art pieces, just as if you own a physical painting. I'll return to the digital art project later, but I would like to clarify the question of digital ownership, as some of you may be asking, wait a second, don't we currently own our content online? To put it simply, we don't. And we can lose it all anytime. This was evidenced during COVID, when one of the major social media platforms shut down the Australian government's communication channels, right at the moment when the communities needed it the most. The current internet experience is more like renting rather than owning. Let's all agree, I own this apple. There are millions like this, but this one is uniquely mine. I can eat it, I can hand it to someone, gift it, or trade it with someone for a coin. The proximity of this physical transaction means that the transaction costs are low, and the trust in the success of this transaction is relatively high. Now let's take it to a different level. Imagine I would like to trade this apple with someone at the end of the room, or in another country. That becomes a little bit more complex. Suddenly, I need to employ many more people to help me with this task. Let's call them the intermediaries. You know, the delivery services, banks, tech companies, insurance, and so on. All of them are taking potentially tiny little piece of that apple as a fee for their services. And while in a small community, a little village, I can probably decide not to use those services, they're quite essential in global economy. Let's take it as a segue to the next, perhaps most important question. How do we currently transfer value in the digital world? Unfortunately, we cannot transfer digital value without intermediaries. And this is because, unlike with the real apple, either I or anyone else can very easily duplicate the digital apple and trade it many times. This is what we call double spending. But all these issues with fake items, digital items, and intermediaries led us to our digital art project called CryptoMob, which was motivated by some disturbing findings from the parliamentary inquiry, showing that over 70% of indigenous art sold to tourists was fake. We address this issue using blockchain-based Web3 technologies. So let me give you a high-level overview how the tech works. Think about blockchain as a type of database, a list of all transactions. But instead of being controlled by one central entity, it is decentralized and controlled by an open network of thousands of interconnected computers, each of them holding an exact copy of that list. Each transaction is transparently recorded in a unit called a block, so that at any time you can check with absolute certainty who has the apples and how many apples they have. The list is updated periodically by adding the latest block of transactions to the longest chain of blocks, hence the name blockchain. The design is extremely clever. Any chances of tampering with the record are unlikely and economically unfeasible. So let's see how the tech helped our art project. Each of the digital art pieces in our collection is now time-stamped with a unique cryptographic certificate and stored on the blockchain, accessible to you from your digital device. Therefore, even if someone took a perfect screenshot of your digital art and tried to claim ownership, only you can verify that yours is the original. And this changes everything for the artists and for the buyers, because now they have absolute certainty that their digital artwork is authentic. That means, like with the real apple, the transaction costs are low and the trust is very high. Now, I understand some of you may say, I probably don't care about art and all the digital stuff. Why should I care about blockchain? And you're right. This example perhaps is not most applicable to all of us, but there are endless applications of blockchains. And also think about other nations where the institutions are not reliable. This technology can potentially empower millions of people, giving them the ownership over their assets back into their hands. And let me give you one more example that may soon affect all of us. The AI-generated deep fakes. The fake videos that are almost indistinguishable from the real content. They pose serious risks. They can affect the outcomes of elections. They can foster cybercrime or potentially start another geopolitical conflict. And again, blockchain-based Web3 comes as a solution. As much as the tech prevents fake art, it can now prevent deep fakes and protect our digital identity. This is perhaps the best line of defense against the misuse of artificial intelligence. Think about Web3 as a new age of digital democracy, where every individual holds the key to their digital future. Only they own and control. And when we own and control digital assets, we can now scale trust globally with mathematical certainty, which makes the global village a reality. This opens new economic opportunities, empowering us to achieve things we previously couldn't even imagine. So yes, the blockchain-based Web3 isn't just an internet upgrade. It is a revolution, returning power back to the people, one block at a time. Thank you.